All right, so this was a mental note because this is a mental note. Why was this a mental note? Ricky, what the fuck was he talking about? And you said something about you just hit me in the head. Oh, the cigarettes. Quit cigarettes. Yeah. Um, I've been trying to quit cigarettes. The other day I did something to try to quit cigarettes, and I ended up taking a video and everything, only to buy another pack of cigarettes the next damn day, and run into the same dude in a different place, which I didn't expect him. As soon as I had pulled the cigarette out, he came out the door. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, uh, what happens is, yeah, I started thinking about quitting cigarettes and being a concept of mind over matter, or you know what I mean, or just being a fact of willpower. There you go, the camera. There's the camera. So, so, oh yeah, yeah. So with the cigarettes being a fact of willpower, because I notice whenever I'm away from them, to where in the place where you can't get them, and you know you ain't gonna get them, I don't think about them. I don't need a patch, none of that. I just don't think about them. So the idea is I started thinking about mind over matter, and then that brought me to the bill. That's what it was, and that's why I started this video. Uh, let's get this down. Yeah, let's get this down. 3 minutes. So let's get this down. A minute. So it was me worried about the cons. It was me worried about my willpower over quitting cigarettes, but then it got on. Then that thought carried on to mind over matter, and then that thought carried on over to the build and the tetrahedron puzzle. The tetrahedron puzzle, I think, is again supposed to be a companion. Uh, I don't know, a companion to man, much like our cell phones are today. And I think it was done with the purpose of reminding us who we are and what the universe around us is. Uh, it definitely earmarks an atom to me, in a way that, because even though it looks whole when it's put together, it's mostly comprised of empty space, and it's all comes apart. So there's parts of it that make a whole, um, and that whole is still comprised of empty space. And I think that earmarks the idea of an atom. And I think we're to be reminded of that by fucking around with this thing. So now, it is that concept of mind over matter that needs to be more broadly expanded, more widely accepted, more understood by public. Almost like the same way, almost like the same way. Okay, we're gonna go past 3 minutes because now we're gonna go on to something else, I guess. But almost like the same way coding. All right, like we're gonna drop script as far as writing, and I know in America that's what they're doing. And but in coding is the new writing for now. Right, learning how to write code uh, for computers and computer programming and software and stuff like that. And where am I going with this? Don't go nowhere with it. It's supposed to be about the build, the little stupid puzzle. Puzzle's not stupid. It's serious. It's so serious. I know I'm right about this. I know I'm right. I'm still looking for information to find out and what proves that this is correct. But I don't know. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. This is something. This is not nothing. Um, oh, that's what it was. I was supposed to explain the whole thing because I had gotten it real quick. And the idea is how you look at life. And it was every person has their way about life, but everyone knows that life has its own way. They got the Tao that the guy wrote. Um, Lao Tzu. And that stands for the way, the Tao, the way of life. And but yeah, but and that's it. Life has its own way, and people as individuals, like life has its own way that every individual creature in creation, before and beyond human beings, will have its way of how it interacts with that way of life. But that way of life will be shared equally upon each individual part of the whole within the, you know, the creatures that are within creation, yada, yada, yada. But then you have that individual way of looking or tapping into or understanding that whole way of life. And it takes life to get at you, you know? It takes life to get at you. Uh, for you to understand that. It does take patience, it does take time, and it does take, a way, like a process. Things have to happen, and things have to not happen when you think they're going to happen. So you learn not to expect shit. uh, Hopefully, at some point. But the idea is levels of consciousness. I think. I think that's the idea. Yeah. Well, I believe that's the idea. Because when, like I said, I'll take it back to the atom thing and that little wooden puzzle that I use myself to help deal with my stresses and my way of life, uh, which I think that's great in the first place with all the ways you can deal with it. Oh, yeah, smoking is one of the way I deal with my stresses in life, which I'm dying to quit. But anyway, dying to quit, that just sounds, oh Lord Jesus. Anyway, this is very important. I gotta remember why. Yeah, that's right. Because all of the atom that this wooden tetrahedron puzzle reminds me of, um, it's an earmark, a mnemonic device. That's the word. It's a mnemonic device for humanity to see and instantly start thinking. Like, hey, who, what, when, where, why, how? Bow. Just like that. Like Jimmy Neutron Bling Brass. And see, I don't need no medicine. I could deal with mine on my own. And I think that's what this little wooden star thing is for. Because honestly, you can use it 1,000 different ways. One of the first ways I thought of using it was to just rub it around the body and massage myself. You can do that. You can rub it in the little notches in between your fingers, like in between your knuckles, in there if you need to get in there. Um, all kinds of good stuff. Uh, oh, the children one. Yeah. Say you got a kid, just a baby, infant baby. You give it to the infant baby as a whole piece. The infant baby is going to see the whole piece. And then, because of how you handle and deal with it, if you shake it up or jar it, it falls apart. If you deal with it calmly and slowly, and it holds together. There's all kinds of lessons of life in this fucking thing. I'm telling you. Whatever. No one's listening. So anyway. Yeah, right? It's just my job to say so. I don't care. So anyway. I do care. Otherwise, I wouldn't. That's the whole point. It's the point of being. I think, is what this thing points to. It points to the whole purpose of being point blank. And then when you're a human being, it can point to toward your purpose of being, is what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's why it's so major. Yeah, that's it. That's the build. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, I think so far. Hey, see, look at that. We're in agreement. We are in agreement. You see that? I say we're in agreement. All right, are you gonna do something now? Because I don't know if you're gonna. I don't know what you're gonna do now. All right. So now that we're in agreement, because again, this goes beyond, before and beyond uh, that of the human being. That's what I'm saying. It's a way of life in general. Um, it's life's way, and then we have our way of interpreting it. But that's the whole point. The point as conscious as one human being, you or I are, or this thing is how much conscious is every bit of so-called empty space. You know, and that's how the emptiness can be filled. That's how the void can be filled. That's why there's a void in the first place, because it's understood as a void. It's not a void because it's completely full. It's just full with something that's unrecognizable to us. Like even this idea right here. Here we go. We'll start here. Because for some reason I thought it was October, and somebody just mentioned it to me. What's the name? Just said something about October before. Oh, he said today felt like early October morning or some shit like that. But before that, something else happened. Uh, I thought it was October. Somebody said something about Halloween or something. I was like, it ain't October yet. And but anyway, what the hell is the point of what I'm trying to say? Oh, October and scary things. That's right, scary things. And the way people act with bugs and stuff. And the way we react with bugs and in the dark and in the, oh, should I not talk about this? All right, you got to go now because you're making me nervous, motherfucker. So now, that's the rest of our being. You feel the little chills go up your spine or the back of your neck or something like that. That's the rest of who we are as a whole total being. We're a three-part being, the human being. A lot of people will say, at least by mind, body, and spirit. We're electrical beings. We're mostly made of water. Um, da 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 yada yada yada. I don't know what the point of what I was saying was. Oh, yeah, we're not used to the the fulfillment of life. I guess fulfillment of life. That spark. That that is life. We always feel empty, like we want for the next thing. That's how we can become. That's how we can become. That's how we can become a consumer society, always wanting for the next best thing when the next best thing wasn't even there before. So we wasn't really missing nothing. But apparently we were, because now there's something new, and now we have to have that. And I do mean we. I'm the same. I can't hold on to a dollar for shit. And what else? Um, oh, trying to make that change. Trying to make that change from being and that's where. Well, you know what? Therein lies the rub with this, and that's why this video is so long. Because if you make the change from consumer society, you're really upsetting the foundation of the way things are. But the way things are, it's time for that foundation to be upset, apparently. because it's getting upset all over the place, all across the board, all across the world, left and right. Things are making, certain things are not making any sense, where certain things are making sense finally. I'd say. I don't know how many would agree, but that's definitely what I'd say. I remember some time ago, I was thinking and feeling like reality or life or space, whatever the fuck you want to call it, was closing in on itself to a degree where, like, I don't know. Uh, all right, like in my mind, the way I be thinking and things work out, I'll think something and then something will happen, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Something will happen and I'll be thinking about something, and then after I thought. But the point is, you think something, and then something happens that coincides with your thought, and you're like, got to think about that now, because how the fuck? I was just only thinking about that fucking thing, and now that happened just now, and it's not really related to what I was talking about, and I can't trip off it because that's AP3, AP1, whatever the fuck one you want to call it. That's Alexander Pavilion, Psych Ward. Can't trip off coincidences. But to me, coincidences are everything. That's the whole point of being, to get pointed and led to the next thing and direction and how things work and happen for real. But my intentions that are stuck toward that are, they don't help out with, they don't go along with regular societal needs. They just don't, or wants, or whatever you want to call it. I don't fit in. And I ain't trying to, never did. But I know the fact of what the fuck I have been trying to do, which is basically be me and come to understanding, is what I've done. Like, I might be actually enlightened. And I may have been, like, granted a tool to show and prove to people that I have been enlightened and in what way that works. And I'm just not sure about it. I mean, I'm sure about it to a degree. Who gets sure about that? You can't get sure about that. Can't get too hype about it. You're supposed to be enlightened. You can't be happy, because if you can be happy, you can be sad. And that's supposed to be the way that works. I think that's what somewhere along the line, I think it works like that. You got to be like that mid-even keel, at 0 point. But things ain't just good or bad, they just are or ain't. And everything's going to be all right in the end. All's well that ends well. Right? So anyway, since I'm so enlightened, let's get back to the concept of the fulfillment of the so-called emptiness that apparently goes against consumer society. Because if we did feel fulfilled, then why would we need the next thing, such as a cigarette, which is my issue? Yeah, which is my main issue right now. That is my main issue, because I did go through the trouble of making a whole video. Gave away my other last cigarette and 2 lighters away, because why not? I don't need cigarettes no more. Why would I need a lighter? Just to buy a pack and a lighter a day later. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, back to the build. Back to the build. Back to the star tetrahedron puzzle that earmarks that of an atom. That's how I'll say that. And how kids can fuck with it. Well, you can give it to a kid, and depending on how that kid deals with it, it will tell you what kind of kid you're dealing with. Honestly, think about it. If you give it to the kid whole, and the kid sees it whole, it knows it can be something. Now, it's a kid, so eventually the kid's going to get excited and it's going to fall apart. Now, that infant child can either then start trying to make that, recreate that something and be creative as possible up until the point where that creation is frustrating and then it starts just bashing the pieces around. Which you got to look out for because you don't want the kid, infant kid to hurt himself, poke his eye out, nothing like that. But if he's capable of poking his own eye out over a wooden block puzzle, you may want to know that early in the game. That kid might be a psycho, and that's all you need to find out what type of kid you're dealing with. They're gonna do all kinds of early tests and have babies made and test tubes all the time. I don't know what the future's gonna be like, man. That shit's gonna be crazy. Because I'm 40 years old now, and the future looks a little bit like they said it would. Actually, the future looks a lot like they said it would. If I look at my life specifically, my way, and how life gets to me, because my way of life, shit. All right, now will be compared to GI Joe. Plain and simple. Yep, plain and simple. Even down to the orange Zartan. Yep, G.I. Joe, right down to orange Zartan. Because President is fucking orange. And everyone knows he's orange. And everyone acts like he's orange. And Zartan was fucking orange. And if there was somebody who infiltrated the American motherfucking seat and there's people that protect it, then yeah, it would be Zartan. And everybody's talking about clones and this, that, and the third. And plus, it's all about terrorists and anti-terrorists. It is nothing but G.I. Joe and Cobra. That's what it's like. Lord knows who's who. Cobra's the so-called deep state, and G.I. Joe would be anybody fighting for a flag. Yeah, technically. I'd have to edit this video. 22 minutes. I'm not even shit. I don't even know how to. I have to learn how to. Not like it's difficult. Everything's difficult till you know. You know? Oh, that was the point. Yeah, everything's difficult till you know. So, yeah, you're always gonna feel unfulfilled until you know how to feel fulfilled. And then you can stop running around chasing for the next best thing and realize that you are the best thing that there ever could possibly be created in all the universe. But it ain't like you gotta act like that towards people like they ain't shit either. Because the same reason that you are the very best thing is the same reason they are the very best thing. Perspective. You know? It's from your perspective that you must be the very best thing created in all the universe, save all the rest of the universe. Because where else would you have been created in? Right, right. So we need the rest of the universe to be here before we could be here. And you know what? It did create a space for us to be. That's why we're here. And you know what about here? It's mostly empty space. Out of each atom, scientifically speaking, it's mostly empty space. And then when you think about where you think from, not so much your brain, but your mind, probably empty space. Probably empty space. That's what I'm thinking. Empty space. And I'm thinking it's either equal or greater than that which is. And that which is, that allows us to be, that love, in essence, is that empty space of the atom. And that's why there can be mind over matter. Because the matter exists within the mind. And the mind is all there actually is. And we share it in a way. That's what I come up with. 40 years. And I could show the proof in the pudding of my life by saying, hey, this happened, then that happened, then this happened, then that happened, then this happened. And a motherfucker have to step back and be like, you know what? Really? But that ain't how it works. It only happens in action. It's perfection in motion. You can explain something to somebody and then walk away and let them live, and then they have to see it on their own. Because the more you try to recreate some shit, the worse off it gets. And that's where I'm going wrong with the build and every other thing that I'm doing, because I'm recreating shit in my life. But I'm stuck in a tight position. I had no other choice but to recreate it, relatively speaking, because I need to rethink it. Because it was left a little fucked. Basically. So I gotta rethink it, repurpose it. That way, I don't lose nothing. If I try to chop it off and just be like, it never happened, I'd be denying a part of myself. It's 15 years of yourself that you'd have to deny. I don't think I'm willing to do that. I don't think any person would be willing to do that if they were stuck with that choice. Honestly, 15 years, it never happened. No, that's denial. Oh, that warmth starting to pick up now. And it's denial. Last 2 cigarettes. And I need something to drink with that. That's what we're doing. We're making a video about quitting drinking and quitting smoking. Yep. And we're not just quitting, because we've all learned now at this point that you can't just quit something, you have to start something new. Because you gotta take up that time. Oh, I can't answer this now. You know what? I think I've made my point a couple times. So when I do edit this video, which I'm gonna have to obviously edit this video, I can come back, clip that out, use it for what I need to. Alright, there's my middle note. A half hour minute. Really? Well, I got a minute to say something, man. Yeah, let's take a moment to show appreciation for that empty space that I was talking about. Because once it knows everything. But once you realize that it's just as conscious as you, and then you say, hey, you are just as conscious as me, everything, and then it says back to you by the experiences through your life that yes, I am, and now I know that you are me, then you're like, oh, and for a while, take some adjustment. You may go crazy. Most people do. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy place. It's a crazy concept. But it is what it is. And you live life after that. And then things start, I ain't gonna say everything works out your way. It's just things start working out in a certain way. And you're in a different consciousness. I think some people call it the Christ consciousness. I don't know. Whatever. Go figure. Um, I'll explain what I think put me in it. Well, I know what put me in it, but I think people would accept that put me in it. That would make sense to them. Because the idea is when what matches up in your head happens in the real world. That's what the idea is. And the idea is mind over matter. Because the mind is all that matters? No. Well, yeah, but no. The mind is where all matter exists. There you go. The mind is where all matter exists. That's it. That works. All right, I'm done. Later, fam. YOLO. Oh. Oh, wait. Cut.